here. I'm going to start on here. All right, everybody. We are going to be talking about autism today. There is a new study just coming out. Just a little bit of autism news for everybody. Let me pull this up again. Let's see here. Some autism news. Okay. A new study came out about sleep. Okay. Autism sleep. If you're an autism parent, if you have a child with autism, or if you have autism, you know that sleep is a big deal. My son's autistic, but he's so clever. Yeah. Okay. So there is a article that was just published in the Journal of Sleep, where they found that kids with autism don't sleep as deeply. In this study, the 44 kids, they found that their deep sleep is much shallower, that their brains don't fully turn off from the world. That is wild. This is a wild new study, you guys, coming out. I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on this one and see if there's any follow-up studies or anything. But they found that babies with strong likelihood of autism struggled to sleep deeply. Their sleep was much shallower. They could not turn off from the world. Oh, Avery, yes, we have been discussing in music therapy as well. Fascinating. Welcome in, everybody. We are just barely getting started with today's live. My name is Kylan Heiner. I am a father of a couple children with autism. I have a 3.5-year-old daughter, or 3.5-year-old son with autism, and a 1.5-year-old daughter with autism. I also am a board-certified behavior analyst. I've been doing ABA therapy and working with people with disabilities such as autism since 2013. And I'm currently the CEO of an ABA company, a company that serves people with autism throughout the state of Utah. So that's a little bit about me. If you're new here, just letting you know, I do go live every day for about 2 hours. Sunday is a little bit of a weird day. My normal time to go live is about noon Eastern time for 2 hours. But Sundays I go a little bit later if I go. Sleepy, you're from Utah too? All right. Hey, welcome. What part of Utah? Very cool. Yeah, where is everyone from? Put in where you're from, you guys. What state are you guys watching in from? Lal says, I'm conflicted whether to give my kid therapy as I have ASD and didn't have and turned out okay. Lal, I don't blame you. I mean, it's perfectly natural to question if you should do therapy. I do want you to know that doing therapy definitely benefits. There's real benefit to it. And so I'm curious, what is your hesitation? I know you turned out fine and you didn't have therapy, but why would you not want your child to have it? I'm curious. What's preventing that? Okay, New Jersey, Michigan, Connecticut, Scotland, England, Florida, Trinidad, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, good. Rhode Island, Germany, North Carolina, Salt Lake area. Okay, very cool. Kaysville, Bountiful, and Heber. That's great, Sleepy. I'm down in southern Utah County, kind of in the Payson area. How about autism transitioning into adulthood and independence? I'm done. What a great question. We see a lot of people that have autism and they're able to grow and become independent and receive very minimal supports or no support into adulthood. We have others that do need more support. And so it really is a case-by-case basis. For those that do need more support, every state in the United States manages a HCBS waiver, home and community-based services waiver for people with disabilities. Unfortunately, most states have a long wait list for that. Brittany says, do you have any insight with PDA autism? My son is out of ABA and does school music therapy and speech. Brittany, I do. PDA is... I do know quite a bit about PDA. I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit today. For those that don't know, that's pathological demand avoidance. It is a profile of autism where the person engages in a lot of avoidant type behaviors, where any demand that is placed on them tends to put their nervous system into flight or fight. Therapy has been an absolute blessing for my autistic baby. Yeah, Sleepy. That's great. Not sure how I would have turned out if I was treated differently to others, if I was more aware. Yeah, that's a good question. Desiree says, ABA or kindergarten if you have to choose for a nonverbal with transition issues. Desiree, if your child is not yet communicating, I would definitely recommend, if it was my child, okay, this is not medical advice, this is not clinical advice for you and your situation, but if my child was not communicating in kindergarten age, he'd be in ABA 30 to 40 hours a week so that they could get one-on-one. The only exception to that is if your kindergarten has a classroom with a one-on-one person trained in ABA. My son is in preschool, and he does preschool plus ABA. And the preschool, he has a one-on-one technician who is trained in ABA, and ABA practice kind of trained up the schools, and they do a really good job. Kat says, my grandson is just turning 13 years old and is going through puberty. It's very hard. Kat, that's something we don't talk about a lot. Those of us with young children with autism, I have a 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. We don't think very often about what is going to happen when they go through puberty. It's a challenge. And it comes with unique challenges with the hormones that come and the increased size and different needs. What is ABA? Applied Behavior Analysis. It's one of the potential therapies for people with autism. Chewy says, do you have any experience with leucovorin? I am pretty well read on leucovorin. Let me explain a little bit about leucovorin. For the 135 people in here, welcome. Please tap on that screen. We already have 1,700 likes. I go live for about 2 hours. My all-time record with the likes is 134,000 likes in 2 hours. And that just gets it out to more people. If you guys want to be tapping on that screen, we'll see how many we can get today. But we had a question about leucovorin. How many of you are considering leucovorin right now? If you are on leucovorin, or if your child's on leucovorin right now, put yes in the chat. I'm curious. Leucovorin, I am cautiously optimistic about future research of it. Let me break down what's going on. We have a lot of people on it right now. And when I share this about leucovorin, in no way am I judging people who are on it. There's not a ton of risk. The risk itself that is most documented about leucovorin is it can cause some anxiety or hyperactivity that can usually point to a dosage problem. Leucovorin has been researched for a while, and recently gained popularity during the press conference where RFK Jr. and Donald Trump announced that they were kind of pushing and trying to push that forward as a solution to autism, or a help for autism. And at that point, there were five studies that were randomized trials about leucovorin. And one of them particularly showed some really exciting benefits of taking leucovorin. Unfortunately, that study has since been redacted and found that the data had not been calculated correctly. And so now there are four studies with randomized trials that have been published that have shown somewhat of benefit. All of these studies, though, I mean, it takes a while for leucovorin to take effect. And so if you're noticing that the moment your child starts taking it, that you see improvement, that itself is not really backed by evidence. It's more of a long-term thing. And it's still kind of mixed. One of the things that I'm excited for is that with the awareness of it, I think that more people are going to research it, and we're going to get some really good answers. So if your child is on it, please be open to participating in a clinical trial. That's really the only situation that I would have my child in it, is if there was an opportunity for him to be a part of the clinical studies that are going on right now. That would be very exciting. But I'm not yet considering it until there's more research on dosing, on side effects and things like that. But I don't blame people for trying it out. There's not a ton of risk that we know of it. But talk to your doctor about it for sure. Sometimes I think I have autism because I have all the things about it, but I've never been diagnosed. I think a lot of adults, more and more are recognizing that they may have autism. And why was it not noticed when they were a child? Well, let me tell you why. It wasn't until 2013 that the autism diagnosis, as we know it today, came about. Before, autism was more of a profound disability that was only diagnosed in kind of the worst situations. There was another diagnosis called Asperger's that was diagnosed at times. But since they introduced the spectrum, including Asperger's, they also introduced more screening tools that doctors have been doing. And so pediatricians have to do a screening at 18 months and at 24 months to screen for autism. And so all of us adults, back when we were 18 months and 24 months, we didn't do screenings. And so we might have had autism and we might have autism, but we just were never supported for that. Lisa says, my daughter was diagnosed in 2005 at the age of 2. Yeah, that's very early, especially for that time frame. I'm glad that you could get clarity that early on. Chow says, could autism be caused by prenatal vitamins? This comes up often in this live of what is the cause of autism. And so many people want to say, oh, we don't know. Why don't we know the cause of autism? It's vaccines, it's this, it's that. I want us to be super clear here. We have a really good idea. We know a lot about the cause of autism. We know a lot. Let me tell you a little bit about this. We have identified hundreds of genetics that are tied to autism. We know that autism develops in utero. It's the way the brain was developed. It's not something that's caught after a child is born. It's not due to toxins. It's not due to a leaky gut where toxins are leaking, metals are leaking out of the gut into the bloodstream, into the brain. That's not what's happening. There's a lot of theories out there about autism, but what the research suggests is that if you have a child with autism, they didn't become autistic. They developed that way in utero. And to me, what that should tell you, if you're a parent of a child with autism, I want you to know that you did not cause your child to have autism. There's nothing that you did that caused your child to have autism. They always had it. They always had it. Elva says, urgent question. How do you help your child calm down when there's an emergency? We are in lockdown. Elva, what's going on? What's going on, Elva? You're in Jalisco. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on. The biggest thing, whenever there's a crisis or whenever there is a major situation, the best thing that you can do right now is for you to be calm so that your child can regulate with you. They are burning down things in the road. Is this happening right now? What's going on in Jalisco? What is going on right now? Oh my goodness. Unrest has spread across parts of western Mexico, particularly in Jalisco, following a military operation. Shelter in place after cartel leader was unalived. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Look, when things are heightened, when you're in a scary situation, this is going to be hard, but you have to be the one that your child can tell is calm. You need to be able, your child needs to be able to regulate with you. Okay. And I'm so sorry you're going through that right now. I hope you have enough inside activities that you can be doing with your child. I know how much, at least my kids with autism love to go outside. But we're all thinking of you. Are you safe? Are you in a safe place? Okay, I'm seeing comments. Do vaccinations cause autism? What do we think? The 300 people that are in here. What do you think? Do vaccines cause autism? Do vaccines cause autism? What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Yes or no? What do you think? It blows my mind how much this spreads. Okay, I don't know why it spreads so much. Well, I do. Okay, very little has been researched more than vaccinations and autism in the autism world. Vaccinations are not correlated with autism. But I understand why a lot of people think it is. Let me put you in the perspective of a parent, okay? If you don't have a child with autism, let me give you some perspective. Imagine that you have a 1-year-old who is responding to her name. She is answering. She is learning words. She's saying mama. She's saying dad. She looks at you when you call her name. She looks where you point. She points at things. And then suddenly that little girl that you knew starts disappearing. This is the reality that a lot of people see. This is the reality of regressive autism. And it is scary. And it is sad. And our brains jump to what happened because they were developing normally. Everything was going well. And then something switched. And our brain tries to find an answer. And around that same time that happens, people also get vaccinated. And so we can be bold and we can be firm in saying the science is clear that vaccines don't cause autism. But if you experience this regression, I'm sorry. I have experienced it. I experienced this with my daughter. And if you have too, I am sorry. I also want you to know that you did not do anything to cause this. Your vaccinations did not cause it. That's an anecdote that you saw that you vaccinated your child and then they got autism. But when you break it down and look at the millions of kids at the variety of vaccination schedules, there's not even a correlation between being vaccinated and having autism. So don't let that fear worry you. But I do understand how some people think that. Not enough research has gone into this. Jackie, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Way too much research has gone into this and has taken away from research that is really beneficial. I mean, we only have 4 published clinical trials on leucovorin, but there are so many on the vaccines when it's already been studied with millions and millions of people. I mean, it's like, at what point is it enough? At what point? Like, I don't think it's another article that's published that finally makes anti-vaxxers say, oh, that's it. Finally, now I'm on board. Now I'm on board. Vaccines save lives. Yeah. Pause. That's a good question. How do we make kids that don't speak to speak? That's a really good question. One of my biggest passions is giving people their voice. I want every child to have a voice. Hey, I see the question. I just don't know what that is. Okay, I don't know. I'm okay saying I don't know. I don't know what metakinit is. Do you want me to look it up? I'll look it up for you. Oh, it's the, okay. Yeah. It's not a treatment for autism. But let's see. But it's often considered first line treatment with ADHD. And so ADHD is often, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know. Talk to your doctor about it if that's a good fit. It's not so much autism symptoms as much as ADHD symptoms, which there is a comorbidity there. But the question was, how do we give our kids a voice? How do we give our kids a voice? Let me tell you one thing that we don't do. We don't assume telepathy. That's what we don't do. I made a video about this yesterday. I'm gonna make some people mad, I think, but I'm gonna be bold here, and I'm just gonna say my thoughts. That I think telepathy tapes, that podcast, and the actions that are happening there is taking away the child's voice, not giving them a voice. It's taking away the child's voice. And I see a lot of people agree, and if you don't, that's okay too. But let me break this down for you. Have you guys heard about this? Telepathy tapes. The premise of this is autistic kids that are nonverbal, that have no way of communicating, are telepathic. They can communicate through telepathy. And the evidence of this is through something called spelling, a therapy that used to be called facilitated communication. Have you guys heard about facilitated communication? This is something that that has been around for 30 years or more. And Chrono, great. Yes. AAC device, communication card, sign language. Yes. Those things work. PECs, that is great. Facilitated communication is different, okay? It's different than all of those things. Please don't lump spelling or facilitated communication into these other tools. Is this AI? No, it is not AI. Is it my lighting that makes people think that? I don't know why people think this is AI. Okay. But facilitated communication takes away a child's voice. What ends up happening is you have a letter board, right? You have a letter board, and it takes a facilitator, and it takes a person with autism. And the facilitator, it starts by hand-over-hand prompting and having the child spell. And so the assumption here is they say in telepathy tapes, assume competence in your child. Even though they're nonverbal, they can spell things. They can communicate through spelling. We just have to tell them where to tap. And so you start helping them tap. Eventually, you can fade yourself out, and they can react to very subtle prompts of where to tap on the screen or where to tap on the letterboard. And so facilitated communication looks like the person is communicating, but really it is the facilitator. And the big question here is authorship. It is who is actually saying the words. Is it the facilitator or is it the child with autism? And that question has telepathy tapes, and the people who have done telepathy tapes have not opened themselves up to be able to answer that question of studying who is authoring the question. You can study it very easily, okay? You can study it very easily. The way that you study it, and they have done this and disproven facilitated communication and spelling and rapid prompting method, all of these different names that you have for it over and over and over. But how you test it is you tell the facilitator one piece of information, and you tell the child with autism a different piece of information. And guess which answer always comes out? It's whatever the facilitator knows, never coming from the person with autism. So telepathy tapes, go watch my video on it. That one is a concern for me. MetBet, that's not true. Tell me about it. Tell me what you think about it. But authorship has never been able to be verified in telepathy tapes. They say that no one is prompting them, but then I go and I watch the videos. I paid. They have a paywall. Okay, this is not free information. You have to go and get through a paywall to watch the videos. And when they say they weren't even touching their arm or their hand or even their elbow, and you watch the video, and the mom is holding the girl's head and shaking the head while she's tapping on the letterboard. Okay? That's facilitated communication. That is the mother taking away that child's voice. It is using your child as a carnival trick instead of enabling your child to communicate. So that's why I'm passionate about this, because I believe that kids with autism should be able to say what they want. They should be able to tell an adult no. They should be able to give consent and take away consent for anything that happens. And when you do facilitate communication, you are taking away that voice. MetBet, it is. It's rebranded. It is the same procedure. It is the same procedure, MetBet. Authorship. How have you verified authorship in spelling? In spelling to communicate, how do you verify authorship? It's the same way, and it doesn't hold up in research studies. And they have not opened up any of the people from telepathy tapes to do a real study to verify authorship. So, all right, we'll continue looking at this, but I enjoy this kind of conversation. Do you think it's worth to seek diagnosis later in life? I don't need accommodations personally. Sky, that's a good question. I know a lot of people that have felt like they have had autism for a long time. And they felt in school that they were the odd person out. They felt like when they're in a social situation, they feel like they're in a play where everyone else has the script except for them, that they say things that is not part of the script and people judge them, or they don't say things when they're supposed to say things. They feel like they're on a stage performing a play without the script. And if you felt like that and you go and you get an autism diagnosis, the validation that you feel is very real and powerful. And so if you feel like that kind of validation of explaining how you act and how you feel, I say yes. I say go get it. Is facilitated communication scientifically supported? No, it has been debunked. Over and over and over about facilitated communication has been debunked. Spelling to communicate has been debunked. Rapid prompting method has been debunked. AAC devices are amazing. They give a child a voice. But the moment that you say, like, how silly is this? That an AAC device where you tap on a picture, that's too challenging for some of these people that have autism. But being able to spell full sentences is how they're going to be able to communicate. Like that, it just logically doesn't make sense. Junk science. Yep. My son has ARFID. Can you speak about this? Yes. Put ARFID in the chat if you have a child with ARFID. This is very common. ARFID refers to restricted eating, avoidant eating patterns where you can only eat a certain type of food or a few select kinds of foods. And it can be one of the most challenging things to deal with as a parent. Because the whole world tends to judge you on how well your child eats. I don't know why that's a thing, but wherever you go, your grandparents, your parents, your siblings, everywhere you go, people judge you based on how your child eats. And they feel like you're not being harsh enough with your child. You're not disciplining them enough. You're giving in too much because they will only eat pizza, chicken nuggets, and French fries. And the hard thing with that is people with ARFID, if you don't let them eat their safe food, they won't eat. There are so many kids with ARFID that are so restricted in what they'll eat that if parents refuse to give them the safe foods, they end up needing a G-tube to put liquid, to put fluid sustenance directly into their stomach. And so ARFID is terribly challenging. And if someone says my child will literally starve. Yeah. Please, if you see a kid with autism and all they'll eat is French fries and chicken nuggets, do not judge them. Do not put pressure on those parents to make the child eat things that they literally cannot. What I will say is you can show progress. ARFID is able to be worked on, but it's a slow process. It's a slow process. I recommend getting feeding therapy. That can be through through speech therapy. That can be through occupational therapy, or it can be through ABA therapy. Those are the three common therapies that work on eating and feeding. You just have to make sure that you have someone that's trained in it. But generally what they're going to do is they're going to introduce new foods very, very slowly. It's not going to be like they have to eat what's on their plate or they go to bed hungry. No, it's going to be, hey, give them their safe food, but let's just have this other food that they're not open to on the table, okay, while they're eating. Then let's scoot it closer to them the next day. Then let's actually put it on their plate, but not touching their other foods. And again, you slowly start integrating other foods into it, and it's a slow process. All right, everybody, for those just coming in, let me introduce myself. If you just saw me today for the first time and I showed up on your For You page, I like to know about this. Can you put FYP in the chat if this is your first time seeing me and you just found me on the For You page? A little bit about myself if you're just coming in. Oh my goodness, yeah, a lot of people on the For You page. So just a little bit about me. My name is Kylan Heiner. I have a 3.5-year-old child with autism, my son. This week, just a few days ago, my daughter, she's 1.5, was just diagnosed with autism as well. And I'm a board-certified behavior analyst, working with people with autism. Since 2013, I started to work with people with disabilities. And currently, I am the CEO of a company that provides autism services in the state of Utah. And so if you're new here, I go live every day for a couple hours. And I'm not selling anything. I'm not in this. I'm mostly doing this because there's a lot of misinformation about autism out there, and there's a lot of really judgmental people towards autism parents. And so I wanted to create a safe space where us autism parents can feel safe, supported, we can talk to each other, we can learn, and we can talk about some of the misinformation out there. We autism parents will do anything for our children. And there are so many predatory companies out there and predatory people who feed off of the fear and concern that we have for our kids. And it's important that we speak on that. I'm not associated with anyone trying to, sell you supplements. I've had supplement companies reach out to me to try to sell things on my live, but I don't do that. I just talk about the basics of autism. And I talk about the parts of autism, of the autism journey that parents go on. And I'm curious what part people are on. If you are a parent of a child with autism, put 1 in the chat. If you have autism, put 2 in the chat. And if you're here to just learn about autism, put 3 in the chat. I want to see if you're an autism parent, if you have autism, or if you are here to just learn about autism. 1, 2, or 3. A lot of autism parents, a lot of people here just learning. Thank you for being here to learn. And again, we're not judgmental. I say things how they are, and I say what the science says, but I do it out of love. I don't do it out of anger. I'm not mad at anyone. And I understand people are logical. Grandparent. Yes, that's great, grandparent. Yes, I love people here just trying to learn, because as an autism parent, one of the hardest parts is that there is a lot of judgment out there for our kids. The world is hard on them, and we're just trying to survive. All right, you guys. But this is a safe space to ask questions. So go ahead and put your questions in the chat. I'll see what I can get to, but make sure you're following me so that you can see me next time I go live. And also, we have a lot of people here. My record for my 2-hour live of the amount of likes I had was 134,000 likes. It gets it out to more people when you tap on the screen. If everyone just tapped on the screen, 10, 20 times, we'd get up to that record pretty quick. And so tap on that screen if you would. Thank you all for being here and listening in. We're going to be talking about some things. Paz says, what do you think of folic acid? Okay, this is a good question. Folic acid and folinic acid are two separate supplements. Folinic acid is known as leucovorin. Folic acid is often a supplement that is injected in other supplements, often tied to the MTHFR gene. If you have tested your child or if you're aware of MTHFR, put MTHFR in the chat. I want to talk about MTHFR just for a second. I'm seeing some questions about it. And I want to explain this. People say that autism is genetic, and that is true. Autism is genetic. Also, MTHFR is a gene variant that can be tested. However, MTHFR is not an autism gene. MTHFR is not an autism gene. Autism is genetic, and MTHFR is a real gene variant that affects, I've seen statistics anywhere between 20 and 50% of the population has an MTHFR variant. And when you have that variant, there can be some dietary needs that you have to best support your body. However, that there is no connection between autism and the MTHFR gene variant. Those things are not connected. I'm not opposed to the MTHFR testing. You can do that, but that doesn't mean that you're likely to have an autistic child or that your child is going to have autism. Those genes are not connected. So just wanted to bring that out there. Simon, genetic and what percentage? So as far as we know, it is you have to have the genetic blueprint in all cases of autism. That the genetics are the blueprint for the brain to develop that way. However, there's environmental factors that decide how those genes play out. And so we can talk about those genetic factors, but remember, autism develops in utero. It doesn't develop after a child is born. It doesn't develop. The latest the environmental factors occur can be at birth if there's a premature birth. But it's not something that when you're 18 months you catch. You know what I mean? Aisha says, my 5-month baby not playing with toys. Look, 5 months is very young. Development is not linear. Every child develops differently. However, Aisha, I am so glad you're here because this is exactly what you need to be thinking about. We can talk about some of those early signs. Lisa says older father. Yeah. Okay, this is ironic, right? We have a lot of people who, and there are some old men out there who try to blame the mothers for their children having autism. If you're an autism parent, you've heard it all. You have been blamed for your child's autism over and over and over again. The moment my child got diagnosed, okay, a few hours after, I should say, I went on this live stream and I said my daughter was diagnosed today with autism. And the first question that I saw pop up was, did you vaccinate her? And to me, that was just, it's so insensitive. Like when you announce, oh, my child has autism, and then the questions that come of how much screen time do they have? What's their diet like? And all they're thinking in their head is, oh, what did this parent do to cause that? I would never cause my child to have autism. But people, I mean, it's just frustrating. However, the old man thing is a real thing. So they have found that men over the age of 40, when they are the father, that can be an environmental factor, that if there's a genetic predisposition, it can be an environmental factor that increases the risk of autism. So that is something to be aware of. Older mother as well, but the father was occurs much more often, and in the study that I read, it was more prominent. So obviously that doesn't mean, if I was, how old was I when my 3.5-year-old, I was like 30. I mean, you don't have to be over the age of 40 to have a child with autism. I say things like this and people are like, oh, my kid has autism and I was only 20. But I'm not saying that has to be the case. It's just one environmental factor that is a very, very, very teeny piece in the development of your baby's brain. Have you read anything about hypersexuality and autism? You know what? I have not. I have not read anything about hypersexuality and autism. However, I did work in a program that specialized in addressing those kind of behaviors in teens and adults with autism. And it is very common. I think part of it is that for those of you with little kids with autism, when your child goes through puberty and when they're a teen and an adult, they have the same desires, the same bodily needs and impulses that other people have, though they may not understand context around it as much as other people. So yeah, that can happen. That's something that a therapist or professional working with people with autism needs to be aware of and work on with people. Sammy says, first child is autistic. What are the chances of second child being autistic? That is a good question. Does anyone know? Anyone have an answer to this? Because I do. I know this one. I'm okay to say when I don't know something. I do know this one. So if your first child is diagnosed with autism, or if any of your children are diagnosed with autism, your next child is 10 times more likely to have autism, about 10 times, which equals to about 20%. They have a 20% chance of having autism if you already have a child with autism. So it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to have another child with autism, but that is, and that's one, we know it's genetic, right? We know it's genetic. And so, has to do with it. Ermita, yeah, of course. What about third child? That's every child after. I actually don't know. I don't know any statistics on if you have 2 children with autism, what are the chances of the next one? I just know if you already have a child with autism, the next one is 20% chance. That's all I know. Joof says, can I gamble on it? I don't know. I say, if you want another kid, have another kid. Don't let that fear prevent you from having another kid. But definitely consider that and be aware that that's a possibility. I work with many children at school with siblings that are autistic. Yeah. What is the percentage of passing autism down to your first child? Let's see. We know that 1 in 31 kids have autism. And so that's like 3% chance, I think, of having a kid with autism. Let's see. Is the FRAT test worth looking into? Okay, what is the FRAT test? Let's talk about this. This goes back to the leucovorin discussion. The FRAT test can identify if there's a folinic acid deficiency. And in the studies, that FRAT test has been linked to that subset of kids who benefit most from leucovorin. And so it's definitely something that you can look into. It's intriguing enough. It's not pseudoscience. There is backing behind it, but it's not well established. There's only 4 studies out there with leucovorin. And if your end goal of the FRAT test is deciding if you want to start leucovorin, you should just be aware that leucovorin is something that's still being researched. It's still early on, and best of the best doctors are not prescribing leucovorin for every kid with autism or for any kids with autism yet. It's not an established treatment. But remember, all these therapies used to be fringe. Okay, ABA therapy used to be not an established science to work with kids with autism. Insurance didn't start paying for it until 12 years ago? And so, yeah, I'm optimistic about it. But the biggest study, because there were 5, there was another study. It was the largest study talking about autism and leucovorin, but it was retracted 2 weeks ago because there were errors in the data that when you factor in those errors, the results weren't promising. They did not show the same impact. And so they are there's with the popularity of it now though, like there's going to be so much data out there, and just keep your eye out for the data. You're not harming your kid. Like if you're being cautious, you're working with a medical provider, you're doing what's best for your kid. I mean, yeah. Greenie says, I don't want to change my son, but he would probably love to remove barriers. Guys, that is my whole thing. Would I cure my son's autism? No. I would not cure my son's autism. However, I would cure the barriers that he faces. I would cure his inability to speak, because I know he has so much he wants to say. I would cure how loud the world feels to him, and I would cure the cruelty of the world to people with disabilities and autism. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. And you know what? It's hard to be an autism parent. And if you answered yes, I would cure my child's autism, you're not bad. This is just my perspective on it, and I think we're saying the same thing. We don't want those barriers, but the way that my son views the world and interacts with the world, there's real beauty in it. Britt says, "Do you have autism yourself?" I don't believe so. I'm not diagnosed with autism. If you're just barely coming in here, a little bit about me is that I work with people with autism. I have a 3.5-year-old son with autism, a 1.5-year-old daughter with autism. Been working with people with autism since 2013, and I'm currently the CEO of a company that provides services to people with autism throughout the state of Utah. So that's just a little bit of background about me. I go live every day. Guys, there's some breaking news about autism. There was a new study about autism that came out just a couple days ago. Let me know if you guys, if you have autism, if you have a child with autism, does your child with autism struggle with sleep? Put sleep in the chat if your child struggles with sleep. There's some interesting new study that was just published a couple days ago. Put sleep in the chat if your child has struggle sleeping. Guys, we are already at, oh my gosh, we're at 38,000 likes. Whoa. Okay, this is crazy. 38,000 likes already. Our record is 134,000 that I have got before on this live. But look at this chat, you guys. So many people with autism struggle with sleep. This study, what it found is that that people with autism have a hard time, and this fairly small sample size, only 44 kids with autism were evaluated here, but they found that they were unable or a lot less likely to get into deep sleep, that the world was not able to be quiet for them while they were sleeping. Let me look at the exact findings here. So 44 children studied. They didn't necessarily sleep less, but their deep sleep is much shallower. They didn't necessarily sleep less amount of time, but their sleep was much shallower. Their brains stay more alert even while they're asleep. In other words, their brains don't fully turn off from the world. That's a big deal, you guys. That's a big deal. When you look at autism, one of the ways I like to conceptualize autism is the idea of the synapses in the brain, how many connections there are. And when a baby comes out of the womb, synapses are forming like crazy. Every little thing in the environment is causing synapses to form. And eventually, a neurotypical child starts pruning those connections. So only the most relevant connections, synaptic connections, are present in the brain. And so right now, I want you to think about this. Are you paying attention to the light above your head? Are you paying attention to the socks on your feet? Are you paying attention to the phone in your hand and how it feels on your finger? There are so many things and feelings and senses that go on in the body that you are not paying attention to because your brain has pruned out those connections. You're able to pay attention to the most important thing. People with autism, it has been shown that people with autism prune differently. Many people with autism prune differently to where those connections are still there. They are seeing the bright light. They're feeling the clothes on their body while someone is trying to talk to them. Everything is going on at the same time. And sleep is the time when pruning happens, when it enables your brain to be able to prune. And so when I read that there are studies that show that people with autism have a hard time going into deep sleep, I mean, that correlates really well with this phenomenon that we see with pruning and not being able to remove these synaptic connections that are not relevant. My son does not like shoes. Yeah, I mean, this is why our children with autism have so many sensory needs, because the world is so loud for them. They hear everything at once. They see everything at once. They feel everything at once. And that's why they might not respond to your name, because that bright light, that ceiling fan noise, all those other things going on is just as salient to their brain as your voice is. Yeah, Sarah says noticing light and symmetry. It never turns off. Wow. Caitlin says, can you please speak about the third eye hug? Yeah, I'll talk about the third eye hug, you guys. I'll talk about the third eye hug. I saw someone call it that once, and I ate it up. I loved it. I have a video. If you go to my profile, I think it's pinned. If it's not, you can scroll down and find it. But it's the video of me and my son touching foreheads. And my son with autism, he doesn't like touch. You can't touch his hand. Put third eye hug or just hug in the chat if your child does this. Does your child touch foreheads with you? Not everyone with autism does this, but it's common enough that there tends to be a name developing for it called the third eye hug, where you're connecting with your child on a deep level. You are... and to me, like it means the world to me. It's how my son shows affection to me. And yeah, forehead to forehead, we are touching foreheads. And a lot of times it's intense pressure, and sometimes there's a little bit of movement there. And it's the way that my son, in my opinion, tells me that he loves me. He's not very touchy, but he at times comes up and touches heads, and it brings me so much joy. And if you're looking at the chat, it is not unique to me. This is so common. Holy cow, we just jumped up from 39,000 to 51,000 likes in the few minutes that I looked at this. Oh my goodness. Guys, I think we're on track to break our record today with the amount of likes. I don't know, but we might be. We're talking about autism today. If you're an autism parent, you're in the right place. I like to read the chat and talk about, answer some questions. Just so everyone knows, I'm also live on YouTube right now, streaming the same thing. And I just barely set it up. And I have a lot of followers here on TikTok, but I have like no one on that other platform. And it would mean the world to me if even just a few of you went over there and subscribed. I'm new to this whole social media thing. I'm about 6 weeks in. And TikTok, I have loved it. I love being on TikTok. But if anyone here has a heart, they're willing to do something kind for me, going over to the other platform and hitting me a follow would mean the world. It's in the link in my bio. Go to my link tree. It's there. And it would just mean the world to me. Thank you, guys. I'm trying to figure all this out right now. And mostly I'm doing this because I am passionate about autism. It seems to be my entire life right now. User, you just asked probably the best question of the night so far. How do you get over the grief of having a child with autism? And that question right there is the exact reason I say no judgment on my screen. Because someone might hear that and think, how dare you grieve your child? At least you have a child. But accepting that your child has autism is hard. Have you guys felt that in the chat? Please make sure that user does not feel alone. Did you feel grief? Did you have to go through a little bit of grieving when you found out that you or your child had autism? Because I did. During the evaluation, I was fine. I held it together. But I saw it written down on a piece of paper, the diagnosis, and I broke down. I worried about what does this mean for his future? Is he going to be able to be independent? What kind of supports does he need throughout his whole life? Autism isn't something that you grow out of. It's not something that you get rid of. It's not a toxin that you can get rid of out of your body. It is the way that your child is. And accepting that is brought on with a level of grief as well. And thank you guys. I'm seeing you on YouTube. Thank you for being there. Oh my gosh. Wow. Are you kidding me? Thank you guys. I didn't answer your question though about how to get rid of the grief, and one day at a time. Don't focus on the grief. Focus on your child. To me, one of the best things that has helped me is to be able to have a village. To not be doing this alone. Are you? And yeah, I'm seeing people in the chat saying you can't. Thank you for the heart, for the hand heart. That was really kind. That was really kind. I got signed out of YouTube here. Oh my goodness, another hand heart. Y'all are way too kind here. And another one. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me, you guys? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Sarah says, I'm doing it completely alone. No family or father. Guys, if you're doing this alone and you need a village, put village in the chat. Put village in the chat if you're doing this alone. I want to see, are you doing this alone? Guys, that's too many people that I'm seeing say village in the chat. That's too many people. That's too many people that don't have the support that they need. You need a village. When I talk about the autism journey, please let me be part of your village. Can I please be part of your village? I know it's not helpful. Unless you're in Utah, I probably can't babysit for you. But please let me and the 500 people in this chat be part of your village. Yeah. You need a village. I talk about the parts of the autism journey. The very first one that I talk about is having that village. And I want to encourage people too that you are able to make a village. It's hard. It is hard to do, but you can make a village. And if you don't have a spouse, if you don't have parents that are helping, if you don't have siblings that are helping, and you feel completely alone, before you worry about all the therapies that your child needs and all the supports and figuring out if your child needs a special diet or something like that, you need a village because your child needs you for a long, long time. It's a lifelong thing here. And So I really need you to focus on building a village. Here are some things that I've learned about building a village. The first thing is that autism families are incredible. Have you ever seen a more positive chat? There are 500 people in this chat. Have you ever seen a more positive group on TikTok? Autism parents are incredible. We are here for each other. And so what I want to say is that you should look in your local community, Facebook groups that have autism support groups. They do get-togethers. They do outings. They go to playgrounds together. Get to know some other autism families out there. It's hard. You probably don't have time. Some other things that have helped me is my neighbors. I have probably 15 neighbors that I could call and they'd immediately show up at my house. And the way that I did that is through serving and helping other people. I mean, I'm there for them just like they know they can be there for me. And so be there for your neighbors, support your neighbors, be a village for other people, and you will find that there's people there for you. It's easy to say, I know, but you need to focus and prioritize on building a village. Walking backwards. Taylor, I see that question. Are you wondering if people with autism walk backwards? Let me know. Does your child walk backwards? My 2 kids with autism will do that sometimes, almost like a stim. But I've never heard that be classified as like a symptom of autism. I also know that my neurotypical kids, I have 4 kids, and my 2 older ones who are neurotypical, they would also walk backwards. It's just kind of a fun, goofy things. Tiptoe walking, on the other hand, that is a well-established thing that we see in autism, is the tiptoe walking. Okay. Mainstream school is not designed for our children. Kazakan, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Yeah, Amy, 450 people in here. Let's tap, get this live out there. Yeah, wow, we are at 71,000 likes already, and we're only halfway through this. We are officially on track, you guys, to break my all-time record for likes on this live, and it means the world to me. Thank you, guys. Panda says, my son loves anything that spins. Yeah, spinning really does it for a lot of our kids with autism. They love to spin. They love to spin things. Diversified says, do you know of some specific stomach problem kids with autism have? 48 days in hospital now. Diversified, are you kidding me? Your child's been in the hospital for 48 days? I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Look, there are kids with autism with medical complexities. However, I want to be cautious here because there's a lot of people who believe that autism is caused because of the gut. And I want to be really clear here that your gut does not cause your child to be autistic. There are not digestive or gut problems with a leaky gut that cause heavy metals to go into your bloodstream and brain. That's not a science-backed theory. But 48 days in the hospital, like I am so sorry. Those medical complexities are really tough. Can you know if you are pregnant with autism? No, you can't do a test to see if your child has autism in utero because of how complex it is. You can have those genetic mutations, those genetic variants that are associated with autism and still not be able to get a diagnosis of autism. And so you don't diagnose autism through genetic testing. Yeah, 76,000 likes now. This is wild. Diversified said, we had diarrhea and constipation for years, can't find a diagnosis. Yeah, many kids with autism do have gut problems. It doesn't cause the autism. However, I will say that if your child is uncomfortable and can't communicate why they're uncomfortable, you're going to see an increase in problem behaviors. Yeah, Tracy says, my son has Crohn's. Yeah, that's rough. I've read that Elon Musk has autism and Albert Einstein. Yeah, I don't know. Neither of them are officially diagnosed. But yeah, there's a lot of people that, have autism and do incredible things. I mean, the way that the autistic brain works is incredible. But please remember, autism is a disability. You can only receive that diagnosis if it's impacting your daily life. And so it is a disability, though the way the autistic brain works is beautiful. Both of those things are true. Yeah, Christina says exactly. My child has gut issues, which causes her behavior due to lack of verbal communication. Yeah. Any kind of my son. I think my son has a cavity. He's 3.5 years old, but he has been mouthing on everything, and that's brand new for him. He's never mouthed on things really, but it is everything. I mean, his clothes, especially within an hour of getting him dressed, his clothes are drenched because he's just mouthing everything. 7 says, my son is super smart, but he lacks any danger and struggles with a lot, but he's so smart with numbers. 7, that's a really good point. So there is something with autism that a lot of people with autism have called hyperlexia. And so when you hear people with autism are brilliant and super smart, one way that often shows early in childhood is hyperlexia. And so many kids with autism, I'll give you this example. My son knew his alphabet and could count to 20 before he could respond to his name, before he could answer a single question that I had ever given him, before he responded to anything that I ever said to him. He could count to 20 and he could read his alphabet. And he still struggles with verbal communication. We're still struggling with it. And so it's the same thing that we see quite often is hyperlexia, just a really good with numbers, really good with letters. My nephew is 7 and diagnosed autistic. He has anger. The anger can be hard to handle. Yeah. Nikki, thank you for being here. Do you guys notice Nikki said my nephew? This isn't her son. This is her nephew, and she's on a live learning about autism and talking about her nephew. Nikki, thank you for being part of your nephew's village. You are needed, and her parents or his parents are grateful. If they don't tell you that enough, they're grateful that you are involved. Joel says, how can I tell if I have it? My family can't afford a diagnosis. So you can look up the DSM-5 and look up autism spectrum disorder in the DSM-5, and it identifies exactly what needs to occur for it to be autism. But really, you can't call yourself autistic and have that diagnosis unless you go through an evaluation. If you can't afford a diagnosis, health insurance pays for it. And if you're fairly low income, Medicaid will pay for an autism evaluation. Deborah, thank you. I'm loving you being in my live. I appreciate you being here. Asperger's versus autism. That's a good question. So Asperger's used to be a separate diagnosis, but in 2013, they combined autism, which was purely diagnosed for more profound cases. They combined it with Asperger's and just called it autism spectrum disorder, including 3 levels of the autism spectrum disorder. Serenity says, my stepson is autistic, 11 years old, and he refuses to say sorry. How can I help him understand? Again, Serenity, thank you for being involved. This is your stepson, and you are here fully involved helping your son. And he refuses to say sorry. I'm going to question you and just say, does he need to learn to say sorry right now? Is that the most important thing that he needs to learn right now? And I know as a parent that's like, of course, we need him to say sorry. But in my professional opinion, okay, when I'm working with a child, learning to say sorry, that is something that we can work on. But it quite often falls pretty low because I want them to be able to say that they're hungry. I want them to be able to say that their tooth hurts, right? Like there are some things, I want them to not hit themselves. There are some things that take priority. And so just make sure that that is the current focus before working on that. But perspective taking helps a lot with that. You need to work on perspective taking. That's where empathy comes in. And it's a skill that a lot of people with autism have to learn. Oh, Hatred says, I wondered if you've talked about hypermobility in autistic people as well as children. I'm autistic. Hatred, I haven't. I'm not sure I've read anything about hypermobility in autistic people. I'll have to look that up. I'll look that up for sure. Thank you for asking that. Treen says, my friend is a psychologist and said I likely have Asperger's. Is there any point in a diagnosis? Treen, there definitely can be. There can be for sure. Let me say why. Okay, let me tell you why. You have probably lived most of your life feeling like you are the odd person out, like you just didn't fit in, like you were performing in a play and didn't have the script and everyone else did. And if that's you and if that's what you felt like, it can be extremely validating to get a diagnosis. Let me log in. I keep getting signed out of YouTube, and so if there's comments there, I am so sorry I'm not responding. Let me try to log in there. Again, for those, I'm going to put this out there again. If you, let's see. Okay. If you are willing, I am new to social media. I have been on TikTok for 6 weeks now, and I am loving it. It is so fun to come on live and talk to all of you. And I just barely started streaming on the YouTube as well. And if you are willing, okay, if you have a kind heart, I'm going to ask a huge favor to go and follow. Is it subscribe on YouTube? Is that what it's called? Can you please subscribe on YouTube? I'm streaming there right now as well. The link is in my bio. And I just, yeah, I would be so appreciated if I would appreciate it if you would. And I am logging in right now to see if I missed any comments. And oh my goodness, we already have 25 subscribers on there. Are you kidding me? You guys are amazing. Truly amazing. Okay. Wow. Wow. Thank you guys. Does every autistic person experience meltdowns and or shutdowns? Many people do. Let me explain it this way, that quite often the nervous system can operate differently in people with autism. And we know that with their sensory needs and everything. But you got to look at meltdowns as what is this person, first of all, are they trying to communicate something? If they're not able to communicate, what are they trying to communicate? But then also just a level of understanding that sometimes, especially those with PDA profile of autism, their nervous system does not operate like neurotypical people's nervous system, that their fight or flight can be triggered very easily. Teresa, it's in the TikTok, or the YouTube is in my bio. I appreciate you guys for going on there. I really do. I'm trying to see where to view the chat. I'm so new to YouTube. I need to figure this out a little bit better. Let me go here. Let me go here. Let me make sure that I'm seeing. I just need to be able to see the comments on there in case you guys are commenting or anything like that on there. I apologize if I can't see it. I'll fix it for next time, but I'm just so sorry that you can't see it, or that I can't see it. What is PDA? That is a good question. PDA is pathological demand avoidance. A lot of people diagnosed with autism fit the profile of pathological demand avoidance. What that is heightened sensitivity to demands. This is not an official diagnosis in the United States. However, it is an official diagnosis in the UK, and it's more and more being widely accepted in the United States as well. The thing with pathological demand avoidance, it's typically those with level 1 autism who, and tell me if this fits with any of your kids, that the moment you ask them to do something, it is like you just put their hand on a hot stove. You ask them to do something and it feels like you just put their hand on a hot stove. That is what PDA is their nervous system reacts the same. If you say go clean your room, their nervous system reacts the same as if you just barely put their hand on a hot stove. That's a very basic way of expressing this. Nervous system reacts the same. No. Okay, let's see. Where are the comments? Open panel. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to figure something out. All right, you guys. Anyone using incentives? All right, this is a good question. Rewards and incentives. I love reinforcement. You can absolutely create programs. I just recommend that you work with your ABA providers. One thing that I'm going to ask is who is your care team? What therapies are you getting for your child with autism? Put it in the chat. What therapies are you doing with your child with autism? Let me explain a little bit about the most common therapies that we see children with autism needing. Some of the most common therapies, and oh my gosh, Amy, I just saw this, 92,000 likes. 92,000 likes, you guys, on this live. My all-time record is 134, and we still have 40 minutes of this stream. And so keep on tapping. I think this might be a world record for us today. Okay, I'm seeing the main ones here. Okay, what are the frontline therapies? Well, remember, before you worry about therapies, build your village. You need a village. Second, get your diagnosis. These therapies become available once you have your diagnosis. The third part of this journey is congratulations. You have just been promoted to care team manager. You are now over your child's care team, and you have to decide what therapies are necessary. Let me tell you which ones to be looking at. There are 4 frontline therapies to consider for your child. The first one, ABA therapy. This is the most commonly recommended therapy for people with autism because it is the most funded. You can get up to 40 hours per week of ABA therapy if your child has a diagnosis of autism. That can be in your own home or it can be in a clinic. And they can work on behaviors, communication, daily living, just about anything that your child needs to learn and do. Thank you, Sarah, for subscribing and commenting on my YouTube. Like, that means the world. It really does. And I wish I could see it. I'm going to go back after, and I just did not set this up properly. I'm brand new to this YouTube thing. And so tell me if there's stuff going on YouTube. Okay, guys, keep your eye on it and let me know in the chat here. Because I can't see it. And I'm going to go back and look at it of the comments people are leaving, but I can't yet. But ABA therapy is one of the 4, okay? ABA therapy. The second is occupational therapy. Occupational therapy, I recommend especially when your child has a lot of sensory needs. They are incredible at identifying how to meet the sensory needs of your child. And Christina just outlined all 4. Spoiler alert, don't look at Christina's if you don't want a spoiler. Don't look at Christina's comment there. So ABA, occupational therapy, speech therapy is the next one that I want to bring up. Speech therapy, if your child has struggles communicating, speech therapy is amazing. Speech therapy, unfortunately, they only pay for typically about an hour a week of speech therapy. And so when you're talking about like ABA therapy, they're not going to be quite as trained as like the muscles in the mouth and how to train the child to actually make the sounds that they need to make. But ABA is incredibly helpful. But speech therapy is really good at specializing and honing in on the communication. They can also like write in a letter to your insurance to be able to get an AAC device. So speech therapy is great. The last one that I'm going to recommend is mental health therapy. This one is overlooked all the time. But mental health therapy is great if your child is verbal. Remember, mental health therapy, you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to have a conversation. That's how mental health therapy works. 7 Mars, thank you for subscribing on YouTube. Thank you so much. This is incredible to have so many people going over there. You're doing me a big favor. I know I'm asking a lot to go and give that a try. But mental health therapy, this is just typical talk therapy, right? And for teens and adults with autism who are conversational, it is like the frontline treatment that you can do to support the needs that you have. So those are kind of the 4 main frontline therapies that you should be looking at. Oh my gosh, 101,000 likes, you guys, and we still have almost 40 minutes. Thank you for drawing my attention to that. All right, guys, let's keep looking at some of these questions. We talked about those 4 primary types of therapies. However, if you're an autism parent, you have probably been bombarded with other ideas of things you need to do for your child. The list never ends. You have heard that you need to go gluten-free. You have learned that you need to go dairy-free. You have learned that you need to be doing leucovorin. You have learned that you need to be doing stem cell therapy. You have learned that you need to be taking all these different vitamins and supplements for your child, and only doing whole foods and veggies. And you know, the hard thing here is nutrition, and all of that applies to every child. Okay, every child needs good nutrition, but there is no shortage of things that you can be doing for your child. And I want this live right now, while we are talking right now, I want to ease your thought that if you're an autism parent, you don't need to be doing so much. You are putting more on yourself than you need to. You are wanting to help your child in every way possible. You're trying everything, but you cannot afford to burn yourself out. And so when we talk about the frontline therapies and those 4 therapies, all these other things, I mean, I can get into the science behind them and why it's not in those 4 things that I recommend. But let me tell you why everyone recommends those things. Have you ever noticed that the people recommending those things for you always seem to have a link in their bio where you can get a discount on their supplements that's going to cure your kid? So many people are trying to sell you stuff. People are trying to sell you things. And we as autism parents, we are vulnerable to that type of thing, these false hopes of being able to help our child. You cannot reverse autism. Autism cannot be reversed. Autism is supported. People grow, people develop, but we are not reversing autism. Football says, we've done 2 evaluations for autism for my son and they still don't know. Why do you think that is? What? They weren't able to tell you yes or no, and you've had 2 evaluations? Did they do the ADOS? I've never heard of such a thing. I've heard one, like I've heard of them going one time and saying, you know what, like they're 2. I don't want to give them this diagnosis yet. It's right on the cusp. I don't know that it's autism. I've seen that happen. But to then go back and then get the same thing, yeah. Be True says, what about brain mapping? That's also one of those things that I put into the not evidence-based category. Brain mapping tends to not be evidence-based. Oh my goodness, a money gun? Holy cow. Are you kidding me? I'm new to all these gift things, guys, but I'm blown away. And heart puffs? And a hand heart? Oh my gosh. I did not... Is this real? Am I getting all these gifts? Is that what I'm seeing? And a cat? Guys, Christina, Alex, thank you. Sharon, Mom to Many, that was way too kind, you guys. Oh my gosh. And now a hat. Sharon, You guys got to stop this with the gifts. That's too much. That's too much for sure. Metal detox. Will it help my level 3 nonverbal 3-year-old daughter? Judy, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So, Mom Domeni, fellow neuro here, thank you for the spelling myths and revealing inappropriate non-science based. Absolutely, that's what I'm here for. Judy's asking about metal detox, and Judy, what I'm going to say, I am so appreciative of you asking this, and I know you are an amazing mom. You have a 3-year-old daughter that you just want to see grow and succeed, and you are willing to do anything. And another hand heart from Brittany. Thank you so much. But let me tell you the basis for this metal detox stuff. This came around in the 90s. There was a theory about autism that said people with autism, their gut has a leak in it, okay? And it leaks into their bloodstream. And so heavy metals, instead of going through the liver and processing out, the heavy metals leak into the bloodstream, which then travels to the brain and damages the brain and causes autism. And so to help with autism, to reverse autism, you got to get rid of those toxins. Well, funny enough, that theory has been disproven over and over again. It is not real. It is not you are not, your child is not poisoned. They have no higher levels of heavy metals in their bloodstream or their brain than any other child. And a lot of the therapies, let me warn you, okay? The worst therapy. Do not do this. And it breaks my heart that I've heard 1 in 15 kids with autism go through this because their parents think that their child has toxins in their body. But chelation therapy, that's CHE, chelation therapy. Has anyone heard of this? Chelation therapy? This is under the impression if you have autism, it's because you have too many heavy metals in your body. Some even do like a blood test, and then they show like, oh, look, way too much of this heavy metal in your body, and really it's exaggerated. It's not bad. And then they start you on chelation therapy. Chelation therapy is designed for heavy metal poisoning. Like if someone really has they're going to unalive because they have too much heavy metal. Children have too many heavy metal in their body because of an accident or an incident or something. And so you take this medicine and it strips your blood of all the heavy metals. That includes things like zinc and iron, things that your body needs. And then you get it all the time. You start this chelation therapy. Your child ends up in the hospital with anemia because of low iron, because your body needs heavy metals. So no, do not detox from heavy metals. That is a myth, that is not scientific, and it does not treat autism. Okay. What is your thoughts about breaking up the vaccines? I think there's no reason to with regards to autism. But I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say about other things. I have a pediatrician on here that I talk to a lot, Dr. Tracy. She's amazing, and she feels like it's safe. As far as the heavy metals go, your body could handle every single vaccine that is prescribed for people at the same time and not get heavy metal poisoning. I'm not saying it's good for you. Like, there's going to be consequences of doing that. But if your worry is heavy metal and autism, there's no need. What are some signs you see in 3-year-olds? I have been noticing some signs in my niece. Manuela, very good question. Very good question. If you guys know someone with autism, Don't Miss the Miracle sent a goat. That is amazing. Thank you. That is too kind. Oh my goodness. And now I got off. What was I talking about? What was I talking about there? It was something important that I was going to talk about. Dang it. Distracted myself. Base Pro says I give swim lessons to an autistic boy. We work on speech therapy while we swim. Oh yeah, 3-year-old. Thank you for doing swimming lessons with an autistic child. I'll talk about that another time, but thank you for doing that. 3-year-olds, common signs of autism with a 3-year-old. Thank you for reminding me. Common signs of autism with 3-year-olds. You are going to see that they don't respond to their name potentially. And again, these are all just possible signs. It could be some of them. It could be all of them. It could be none of them. But you're going to see slower communication typically, and social issues, deficits in socializing. You're going to see some repetitive behaviors or stereotypy. That could be like hand flapping or spinning or things like that. Not responding to their name, 7. Yeah, yeah, definitely. What does a diagnosis consist of? Really good question. For some people, a diagnosis consists of waiting on a wait list for 2 years and then being able to get a diagnosis. If you had to wait for a diagnosis, how long did you have to wait in the chat? Tell me how long was your wait to get a diagnosis? And we are at 121,000 likes, you guys. Oh my goodness. No eye contact, Vanessa. That's a really good sign as well in a 3-year-old. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years for a diagnosis, 6 months for a diagnosis, 3 years, 6 months, still waiting. Okay. So, but what does it actually consist of? It's very simple to do. That's what's frustrating. You wait for years. Some people have to wait for years, but it's really not that crazy of a diagnosis, or it's not that crazy of an evaluation. They can do it in 2 hours. Typically, they'll send you some surveys that you have to do at home beforehand, and then you go and they'll talk to you as the parent for maybe 30 minutes. And then they'll go in a room for 30 minutes to an hour with you and the child. Thank you for the hat. Oh my gosh. I've never had a live with this many gifts. Like, honestly, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, I've seen people get gifts before, but I didn't know that was like a real part of this. Lex, are you kidding me with the hand heart? This really is nuts, you guys. So crazy. And we're already at 124,000 likes. We are 10,000 away from my all-time record of likes on a live. So cool. So cool. But yeah, they'll do that in-person evaluation. It's called the ADOS or the CARS. Typically it's the ADOS. And it's 30 minutes to an hour of just playing with your kid. Usually you're allowed to be in there and watch, but they don't want you to talk to your child. They don't want you to interact. You just have to observe. And then they score it. And sometimes they give you the results right then and there. And other times you have to wait. Sometimes you have to wait for a couple weeks before you get a diagnosis. For those of you that are new, let me do a quick introduction and let you guys know I go live every day. My name is Kylan. I live in Utah. I have a 3.5-year-old son diagnosed with autism. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter that was diagnosed this past week with autism. I've also worked with people that have autism since 2013. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. I have a master's degree in autism studies. I am currently the CEO of a company that provides services to people with autism in the state of Utah. And so autism is my life. I love autism, and Brittany is going crazy with the gifts. Are you kidding me? This is nuts. I've never seen anything like this on my live. Honestly, this is wild. Lex says, do we do genetic testing? No. Well, my company doesn't. I want to do genetic testing for my children. I haven't done it yet. But the Spark study is really good to go and submit the genetic testing for. It's a mouth swab that you're able to send in. We didn't do it, Lex. Yeah, we didn't do it. We should. I want to. I just haven't done it yet. Ali says, so what is causing autism? Guys, autism is going through the roof. There's an epidemic of autism. Have you guys heard this? There's an epidemic of autism going on. And a crown? There's a crown? I've never had a crown before. Are you kidding me? Guys, you got to stop gifting because I get off track and I can't remember what I was saying. Oh my gosh. Christina. Yeah. So what causes it? What's causing this increase? Are you seeing this now though? Are you seeing like everyone, like it's an epidemic? It must be the vaccines, right? Everyone's getting vaccinated. It must be the vaccines. Guys, let me tell you what's going on. What is this? A gold medal? A gold medal. Are you kidding me? What? This is crazy. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Really is. Thank you, Lex. I appreciate it. There is not an epidemic of autism. Autism rates are increasing because more people are being diagnosed. Autism rates are increasing because the diagnostic criteria recently expanded in 2013. Before, the only people diagnosed with autism were the people most profoundly impacted by autism. Now, as of a few years ago, it is required that all pediatricians screen for autism at 18 months and at 24 months. So there's more screening, there's more awareness, and a broader diagnosis. And so there is no evidence, there is zero evidence that autism rates are increasing. What we do know is that more people are being diagnosed because more people are aware. Thank you for the roses. That is so kind. And we have officially broken our all-time record for likes on a live. 137,000. 137,000 right now likes on this live. This is an all-time record. This live is crazy today, guys. Wow. Personally, what do you think causes it? Personally, I don't get to have an opinion personally, but I can tell you what the research is saying right now. So right now, we know that autism is genetic. A lot of people say we don't know what causes autism. That's not true. We know a lot about what causes autism. It is genetic. Autism develops in utero. It develops prenatally and perinatally during delivery. And let me touch on this. So it's they refer to it as polygenic. Because it's not one gene. You can't go and test your blood and say, oh, I have autism. No, it's based on the traits. And so the only way to test for it is behaviorally. It's not a genetic test. However, it is genetic, but it's polygenic, meaning we have identified hundreds of genes that play into it. Okay? Hundreds of genes that play into autism. And the autism is just the way that the brain developed in utero. Michelle says, I have a theory that it has to do with complications during the birth. Okay, this is not just a theory. There are studies about this. And what they find is for those that are genetically predisposed, traumatic births, such as when your child is deficient of oxygen during birth, that can be a risk factor for autism. Ian says autism is not genetic. It is. It is genetic. Yeah. But your thought there is correct that that there could be ties to trauma and traumatic birth. It can be. It's not saying that caused it. The genetics and the blueprint of the brain development has to already be there. How do you convince an adult to get assessed for autism if they are in denial? That's a hard question. That's a hard question. And I think the answer to that is you might not be able to. That is a very personal thing to get someone to go and do. And they shouldn't do it for someone else. If they're an adult and they were never diagnosed with autism, the only reason they should get diagnosed is if they need the support and if they want that validation of having a diagnosis. Is there treatment for autism in adults? What a good question. So the company that I run in Utah, I'm the CEO of a company in Utah. We do have a clinic that is dedicated for teens and adults with autism. We have a few clinics here in the state, but you can do ABA therapy with adults. If it depends how profoundly impacted this person is. If they're not communicating well, if they have high support needs, ABA therapy can work wonders for adults. If they're fully conversational and they just need some additional support and working on things in their daily life, mental health therapy is the way to go. Mental health therapy with someone that specializes in autism is the way to go. Many, if not most cases for the past 20 or more years are caused by immunizations. IML, I don't know why this keeps spreading. You should join the live for a little bit longer because we talk about this about every 30 minutes, it appears. What is that, April? A surfing penguin? Are you kidding me? And a lightning bolt from Fern and Fluffy Heart? Oh my gosh, you guys are going crazy. And 147,000 likes, you guys. Oh my gosh. Is it worth trying leucovorin? So my stance on it, I have 2 kids with autism, right? 3.5-year-old, 1.5-year-old. And life is crazy right now. And the research is not very clear on the benefits of leucovorin yet. There have been 5 randomized trials for leucovorin, one of which was the largest and the one cited in this recent promotion by RFK Jr., which has been retracted a couple weeks ago because of errors in the data. Fern, thank you for the hand heart. Again, you guys are going crazy. A chili floor, thank you. You guys are sending way too much today. Absolutely too much. I don't think you're harming your child to try leucovorin though. Okay, you're not harming your kid. As far as we know, I mean the side effects that I'm aware of, that it can lead to an increase in anxiety and problem behaviors. It's not a guarantee that's what's going to happen, but it can lead to that. And so you just got to monitor it. And I'm not doing it though. I'm waiting for more research to come out. I'm not convinced yet. I think we as parents, we want to find that the things that we do for our kids work. And so we look for the successes. And so hearing the anecdotes of parents, it's promising. It's like, yes, I'm excited that so many people are seeing things. Thank you for that mini star. Oh my gosh, April and Floor. That is crazy, you guys. Thank you. So kind of you. Yeah, there are promising like anecdotes. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited about it. I'm hopeful. And I'm grateful for all the people participating in the clinical trials right now that are ongoing. And within the year, we're going to have so much more info. I'm waiting a year. I'm going to see what the clinical trials say for my child with the leucovorin. Cake Baker, I know the frat testing, and I know it can indicate like effectiveness of leucovorin. I don't know the different types of genotypes and all the details of the frat testing. I apologize. I should be more informed on that. I apologize. I can't answer that. Amy, thank you for reminding people about the Discord. We have a Discord, you guys. If you don't have a village, let us be your village. The Discord is where we chat offline. We have some amazing people. We have Amy. We have Lexi, who are a huge help on there. The live can only go on for so long. We got another 15, 20 minutes right now of this live, but after it ends, we are going to not be live, and the Discord is where we can go and have conversations. So Discord link is in my bio. If it doesn't work, we can help you through that. All right, you guys, what other questions do we have? What do we have going on? If you haven't followed me yet, be sure to hit me a follow. I go live every day for a couple hours. Is autism caused by stress and tension in pregnancy? I haven't seen studies suggesting stress and tension, but it could. I might just not be informed on those ones. It's genetic, but there are risk factors. There's environmental risk factors. The known environmental risk factors that I am aware of is traumatic birth with oxygen. It is infection in the mother during pregnancy. It is parental age, specifically the father being over the age of 40 can be a risk factor. Pollution and wildfire smoke is a known risk factor. All of these risk factors, environmental risk factors, are during pregnancy or during delivery and occur while the brain is still developing, and only can increase the risk for those who are genetically predisposed to autism. My 5-year-old child is nonverbal, not a single word. Son, I feel ya. You would give anything to just hear a word. You would give anything to hear mama, dada, anything. Don't give up. Don't give up. I have seen it time and time again that a child starts communicating at age 5, 6, 7, 8. I've had adults who have never communicated in their life learn functional, meaningful signs that benefit them in their life. Don't give up on bringing out your child's voice. Yeah, I'm trying to see everybody's. I apologize when I miss them. You can don't spam too much. Just on occasion, you can post it a few times, and I'll try to get to as many as I can. Definitely don't give up. My nephew did not talk until 5. Yeah, I hear that all the time. Michelle says, can autism in a child get worse as they get older or better? Yeah, it can. Growing up, as a child grows up with autism, new challenges are presented to them. Going through puberty is rough on a kid. Becoming an adult is tough on a kid. And so typically what we see, though, is if you're doing the therapies that we recommend, the basic frontline therapies. I'm not selling anything, you guys. I don't sell anything on this live. I'm not trying to promote a specific therapy that benefits me or anything. I'm just a passionate parent. But if you do these basic therapies, ABA therapy, OT speech therapy, mental health therapy with your child, and you're consistent and you are being there for your child or being consistent, you'll see progress. You will. And I tell you, I don't know, am I the only one that sees this, that the little wins that your kid has mean so much more when they have autism? I mean, my son saying his name for the first time when he was 3.5 years old meant everything to me. When my other kids learned to do that before they were 1. And so, like, it's the challenges that come that open us up to more appreciation for the progress that we do see. Look for the little wins. Look for the little wins. Telly, how's everyone's energy today? Sad, happy, overwhelmed? Energy today is great. What an amazing energy. We have 159,000 likes on this. This is an all-time record. We have had people gifting like crazy. I didn't realize that gifting was such a thing that people could do on TikTok. Like I've seen it before, but man, I'm still fairly new to this. I also have my YouTube going, and that's fairly new. But I can't see the comments on there. I messed up this live stream, guys, so I can't see the comments on the YouTube. But if you could do me a favor and go over there and follow me on YouTube, I'll do better next stream of making sure I'm monitoring comments over there. I think it's called subscribing on YouTube. But it's brand new. I don't have a whole lot of followers. I had just a few at the beginning of the day today. And I think we've gotten it up to like 30 or something like that. And I'll have to check and see how many subscribers I have. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. Let's answer some questions here. Something I want to do. We got 10 minutes here, so let's just answer some questions here. Is there science behind methylated vitamins for children with autism as opposed to normal vitamins? Destiny, let me bring that up. The methylated stuff comes from the MTHFR genetic mutation. That's where a lot of that comes from, and I don't. What I do know is that the MTHFR gene mutation is not correlated with autism. Kids with autism are not necessarily more likely to have the MTHFR gene variation. That is a common misunderstanding. And about 20 to 50% of the population has the MTHFR gene variation. And so I don't get the vitamins and stuff like that address that for my son. Okay, my son is 4 years old. Feel like he is regressing and so hard to raise him. Anna, I feel you. The regression is hard. Regression is really hard. If my son tested positive for the X factor test, it means that me or my husband can be autistic. Natalie, here's the truth about autism is that although it's genetic, that doesn't always mean it's hereditary. Those are two different things. It can be, but it doesn't. Autism is very specific how to get diagnosed with it. And if you or your husband don't meet that criteria, you don't have autism. So, Amy, thank you. Thank you for being an amazing moderator on here. Ross says our son is 6. Regression have been many, but we keep on. Is it necessary to see genetics if 2 of my kids have autism? Karina, you do not have to do the genetic testing. The genetic testing, honestly, right now, the biggest value of doing genetic testing is to give researchers access to as much information as possible. You may find some things that impact your child, or you can learn some things. I do recommend it. It's not a bad thing to do, but you don't have to. You definitely don't have to. Executive Lux Travel says, if a kid nearly talks few words but does not speak clearly, is this concerning 3 years old? At 3 years old, you should be having some pretty good conversations. But communication is not the only thing with autism. Let me ask you this. If you point somewhere, is your child going to look at where you point? If your child gets scared, if he gets startled at a loud noise, does he reference you to make sure everything is okay? Does your child stim or engage in repetitive motions or movements, stereotypy, like hand flapping, spinning, or twirling? Does your child line toys up? There's things like that are common signs of children with autism. It's not only communication. So if you answered yes to a few of those things, it would be worth, I'd recommend going online right now. For anyone who is wondering, if your child has autism, go online right now and do the MCHAT, MCHAT. That is what most pediatricians test using at 18 months and 24 months. And it asks really good questions, similar to the ones that I just asked, and catches about 95% of cases of autism. Executive says he does line toys up daily. He does flap his hands. Executive, both of those are signs of autism and the communication. 3 years, that is very young still. Very young. Don't be afraid of a diagnosis, you guys. If you think your child could have a diagnosis of autism, all that diagnosis means is that it's going to open the door to more services for you and your family. That's all it means. Okay? So many kids have this diagnosis, and so many kids have progressed and grown, and they don't need support anymore, and they have that diagnosis. The stigma around autism is going away. Don't worry about the stigma. Don't worry about the label. Just worry about, is my child getting the support that he needs? Destiny, you always come in with the best comments. Get the diagnosis, put it on file, and make a paper snowflake out of it. Oh my gosh, I love that. MCHAT, MCHAT user. That's the pre-screener for autism. It's free. It's online everywhere. And yeah, you can just do it and see where your child fits in. They'll tell you high, moderate, or low risk for autism. And it's a good place to start. And again, if it's high risk for autism, go get an evaluation. Don't be afraid of it. You waiting, you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you guys do this. Do you guys ever intentionally not look at your bank account because you don't want to deal with the reality of things? And so you wait, but then eventually you have to just look at your bank account and go through your budget. And I don't know. I do that some. Maybe this is a unique experience, but I sense a lot of parents do this with autism, that they don't want to know the truth. They don't want to know, and they feel like getting evaluated makes it real. And you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to look at how much is in your bank account, and you got to see if your kid has autism, because the quicker you get into services, the better. Okay. Get on a wait list. Yeah, Destiny. Thank you. Amy, good reminder. This is non-judgmental. Please be kind. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Guys, happy Sunday to everybody. If you're new here, let me give you a little bit of breakdown of what we do here. I go live every day, talk for a couple hours. I didn't bring up guests this time. We did mostly the chat. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing more guest stuff. So come on in tomorrow. We're going to have guests. If you're not following me yet, hit me a follow so that you can find me easier next time. We go live every day. Why do I do this? Because I need a village. You guys are my village. Your positivity, your support is my village. I have a 3.5-year-old with autism. I have a 1.5-year-old, also my daughter, diagnosed this past week with autism. And it's hard out here. And I'm saying that from someone who I've worked with kids with autism for the past 13 years. And I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. I know a lot about autism, have a master's degree in autism studies, and I run a company that supports people with autism in the state of Utah. But as a parent, I need a village. I need a village, and you guys are it. So Danielle says, do you think stem cell therapy treatment works or is just a scam? I don't think it's fully a scam, but the research behind it is not there yet. Remember, even ABA therapy, occupational therapy, these used to be fringe things as well. Stem cell therapy, there's good theory behind it. There's not clear evidence yet. There's ongoing clinical studies going on, though. And so it's one of those. I'm optimistic. I hope we find that it's successful. The problem is that right now you're looking at going in and paying $15,000 to $20,000 to go do stem cell therapy. It is not considered recommended or evidence-based. It's why you have to usually fly out of the country to go and do it unless you're participating in unless you have to unless you're able to participate in a clinical study. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. I don't think it's worth it yet. But if you want to be part of the clinical trial, though, go for it. I'm all for supporting the research and everything. Destiny, why is it not working? Did you copy and paste it into a web browser? Try to copy and paste the link and open up like Safari or something and do that. Sorry, you're having a hard time getting into the Discord. Paz says, what do you think about Aztec detox bath? It worked on my little brother. He eats more now. I don't know that specific intervention, but I know the science behind detox and autism is, honestly, it's offensive to people with autism. It's not scientific, and it operates under this idea that autism is caused by toxins, like a disease in the body, which we know that to not be true. Autism is simply the way the brain developed. So, Destiny, let me look at that. I'll see if I can directly send you a link. Okay, I'll directly send you a link. I'll take a look and see what we can do to fix the Discord. Guys, also be sure to hop over. If we have over 200 people in here right now. If everyone goes over to YouTube and subscribed, I mean, that would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'm brand new to YouTube, and trying to build up a few followers on there. And so if you could do that, that'd be amazing. And then please come back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain Time or noon Eastern time is when I go live every day. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for the support. 173,000 likes, all-time record by far. You're all amazing. Have a wonderful Sunday. Let's see here. All right, stop streaming. Thank you guys on YouTube as well. I'm going to turn it off, and I'll figure out how to look at the comments next time. I apologize, you guys. If you're over there on the YouTube, I know that you probably commented and I didn't see it, and I apologize. All right, I'll look at it right now, and tomorrow I'll have that fixed so I can